The internet tells you cash is dead. Inflation destroys it. Investing every dollar is smarter. But during every major financial crisis, the people with cash suddenly become the most powerful people in the room. They're dead wrong. Cash isn't trash. Cash is a loaded weapon. It's the single secret asset that makes regular people millionaires, while the smart guys go completely broke. If you feel guilty for keeping money in the bank, stop. Today, we'll show you why a pile of boring paper is your ultimate unfair advantage. The trap of all in. Let's look at the scary word everyone loves to throw around: inflation. Yes, prices go up by 2 or 3% a year. If you keep $10,000 under your mattress, it loses a little bit of its punch. But lose a little punch to inflation, or lose your entire life savings in a stock market crash? Inflation nibbles, crashes devour. That's the real choice. Let's look at the absolute worst way to lose wealth. It's a fancy term called forced liquidation. But let's make it simple. It means being forced to sell your stuff when you don't want to. Selling at the bottom isn't a strategy, it's surrender. The real-world nightmare, the cost of zero cash. Imagine it's a bad economic year. The stock market just dropped by 50%. Your $100,000 in stocks is now worth $50,000. Suddenly, bam, your car engine blows up, or you lose your job. You have zero cash in the bank because you invested every single penny like the internet experts told you to do. What happens next? Life doesn't wait for the market to recover. You have no choice. You have to sell your stocks at the absolute bottom just to pay your bills. You just turned a temporary market drop into a permanent financial tragedy. A bad month becomes a permanent loss. Losing 3% to inflation is annoying, but being forced to sell your investments during a crash is financial suicide. Cash is your volatility insurance. It locks your investments in a safe vault so nobody can force you to sell. Insurance costs a little. Catastrophe costs everything. Buying the blood. Cash doesn't just protect you, it attacks. Defense keeps you alive. Offense makes you rich. When the economy panics, everything goes on sale. Houses, stocks, businesses. Prices drop through the floor. But you can only buy a sale if you have the cash ready right that second. Sales don't wait for paychecks. Why do the richest people in the world hold the most cash? Look at Warren Buffett. He sits on a mountain of more than $160 billion in boring, low-interest cash. Why? Because he's a tiger waiting in the tall grass. He knows that a once-in-a-decade crash is coming, and when it hits, everyone else will be crying and begging for money. Panic sells. Patience buys. That's when he uses his cash weapon. He buys premium assets at a 70% discount. Cash gives you the option value of money. It means you buy the right to wait for a perfect deal. Without cash, you're just a spectator watching other people get rich. With cash, you get choices. Spectators watch the sale. Cash owns the sale. The psychological shield. There is a great book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. He talks about a simple concept: room for error. Cash buys calmness. Calm buys good decisions. Imagine you have $500,000 invested in the stock market. One day, a global crisis hits. The market starts dropping every single morning. Your account goes down by $10,000 a day. How do you sleep at night? If you have $0 in your bank account, you will panic. You will sweat. You will hit the sell button at the absolute worst time because you are terrified of losing everything. Fear is expensive. But what if you have $50,000 in cash sitting safely in a local bank? Your brain changes completely. You tell yourself, the market is crazy right now, but my family is safe. We have enough cash to live for a whole year without touching our investments. That cash gives you staying power. It stops you from making emotional mistakes. The cash isn't just earning a tiny bit of interest in the bank. It is protecting the $500,000 you have in the market. It's the anchor that keeps your ship from drifting into the rocks. A calm investor beats a smart investor every time. Complete life flexibility. Let's talk about real freedom. Wealth isn't about buying things. It's about owning your time. And cash is the ultimate key to that freedom. We call this the FU factor. Money talks, cash walks. If you have zero savings, you are a slave to your current paycheck. You have to put up with a toxic boss. You have to stay at a job that makes you miserable. You can't say no because you are one missed check away from the street. No savings, no leverage. But when you have 6 months of cash sitting in a bank, the power dynamic flips completely. You aren't trapped. You have leverage. You can look at a bad situation and walk away without fear. That cash buys you the time to find a better job, start a business, or take a breath. You can't buy that level of peace at a luxury car dealership. Freedom doesn't wear a price tag. The opportunity bucket. So how much cash do you actually need? Many smart investors on communities like Reddit's r/investing use a 20% rule. They don't just save for a rainy day. They create 2 separate buckets. Rainy days happen. Lucky days require preparation. Bucket 1 is your emergency fund. This is 3 to 6 months of expenses. It stays completely untouched. It's there for broken pipes, medical bills, or job loss. This is your shield. Bucket 2 is your opportunity fund. This is an extra pile of cash, usually 10 to 20% of your total wealth. It sits quietly, waiting for the market to drop. This is your sword. When a crash happens, you don't touch bucket 1. You take bucket 2 and pull the trigger. You move from a defensive mindset to an offensive play. You aren't just surviving a bad economy. You are positioning yourself to get incredibly lucky. Luck favors the liquid. Fuel the weapon. Cash is your weapon. But a weapon is only useful if you know how to build the rest of your army. Arm yourself, then grow. If you want to see why putting all your cash into a massive house is actually a rigged game that keeps you broke, you need to watch our video, Is the Housing Market Actually a Giant Pyramid Scheme? Or, if you want to see the exact math on how to use your cash to join the top tier of wealth in America, check out Only 1.8% of Americans have $2 million saved, and here's why. Stop feeling guilty about your cash. Lock it in. Wait for your moment. And move with power. We'll see you in the next video.